Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got a little pre-race checklist to do on Burgundy. It's Tuesday right now. I'm gonna take the next couple days, kind of pick away at it and make this video with that content. So I gotta do swapping wastegates to the new VS Racing piston style. Here's my small checklist. We're gonna jump right in here and get her done. All right guys, first thing I'm gonna do is pop the wastegate off the 50mm next gen, and we're gonna put on one of the new piston style wastegates from VS Racing. I'm gonna take that apart, show you guys how it works, and we'll compare the two. All right guys, got the 50mm wastegate off of Ron Burgundy. These are supposed to be modular. I'm supposed to be able to just drop this one where this one used to be. So let's see if that's true. I have my firing ring right there. And I think this is supposed to be the flange, but I'm gonna I guess test fit this on the car, just the way it is. Yeah, it's an exact fit for the bottom of the gate, the valve side, like this side. And then for the dump tube, it's also a perfect fit. So they must be the same base. I bet that this piece is the same on both. I don't see why he would go through a hassle of making something else. All right, so what I need to do today to put this one on is I need to check the cracking open pressure on this one. Try to get it pretty similar on this one, as close as I can. I'll show you guys how I do that. I'm gonna have to move my vents, or my plumbing stuff over, my dome sensor over. And when I do all that, I'm gonna have to take this apart, and I think I'm gonna maybe end up using the spring that's in this one. So I'll have them both apart. I'll show you guys the differences and why this one, why I'm going to this one. I think that's like a 10, no, it's like a 10-pound spring in there, which is not what comes in these 50mm gates. They come with like a small spring and a medium spring. This is a big one. I think this is from Turbo Smart. I just got all kinds of wastegate springs kicking around, so that's where that came from. All right. So let's see here. This thing still looks great. I mean, it was working fine. I don't have any real reason to take it off. So let's compare these two now. All right, so I got the lid off of both now. You see how this frame is on here. There we go. So obviously two very different designs, you guys. The same size valve. This is an older diaphragm style, which is fine. It's served for like decades probably, this design. Look at these little tiny springs in here. Jeez. Those are little. I wonder if I'm gonna be able to get those to be stiff enough for me. I guess with CO2 on the dome, it doesn't matter. So you've got, when the valve moves on this old style, this diaphragm is usually pinched between the two caps, or the two dome halves. So that will stay down there, and it kind of, I don't know if I can show you guys this or not, it's kind of tough. The diaphragm will be sealed, you know, the whole time, and it will move through its cycle like that. And the biggest problem with these, I think the most common issue that guys have is they pinch that diaphragm like when they're tightening the cap on, they'll pinch it right here or something, or it'll rip and get a hole in it. Another problem with this style wastegate is it has these, how many are there? There's four set screws in here holding this spring seat to the valve stem, and a lot of times those set screws will back out, and then you've got nothing holding the base of the spring to the valve. Creates a leak, you know, you get like a boost leak there probably, and plus the stuff's just not connected, so they'll fall apart internally. So you have to, if you have this style wastegate, take those set screws out of there and put red Loctite on them and tighten them down nice. But yeah, no, this gate is still perfect. It worked great with Ron Burgundy all year. You guys have seen some of the videos and the races and stuff, and super happy with it. I'm almost like a little concerned taking it off right before a race, but I do want to try the new style out, just because I think it's a better design and it's going to be less prone to failure. We'll move that one aside and we'll check this one out. This is pretty neat looking. So we got a double O-ring piston here, and it slides up and down inside of this hat like a piston. This is like piston rings, right? These O-rings are like piston rings, and you get this nice O-ring seal in there, and you can move, oh, there we go, and you can move the piston just like it moves the diaphragm on that old style. And there's no set screws to back out. There's just a nylon lock nut, which is nice. It looks like they put some kind of thread dope on there to seal it from leaking. I probably will check these base Allen screws or bolts holding the base to the dome on the gate body there. Just put some Loctite on those, and then I'll put it together and put our springs in there, and we'll bench test this to see what the cracking pressure is, so I know if I'm going to be way too light or stiff, or if it's about the same. Because this spring I was hoping to put back in this is way too big. It's not going to fit. So it looks like this style gate only holds 2 springs. I don't see how you could get a third one in there. I mean, you could, but it would only give you like 1 pound probably. So that just tells you really, like, if you have a smaller, if you can get a stiffer spring, great, but really if you put these in here, this gate's made for CO2 control. So it doesn't really matter what springs you have in it. If you have CO2 pushing down on the dome of it, you know, it's like you could have a block of wood in there, or you could have it, you know, I could run just this one, and you have all that infinite adjustability. So I'm gonna get those Allens out, Loctite them, put the springs in, we'll check the cracking pressure. Guys, them Allen screws down there in the base are so freaking tight I can't even loosen them or tighten them, so I'm just gonna leave them alone. I'm gonna put some dielectric grease on the O-rings just to give them a little bit of lubrication. You want to use something that's not gonna like make the O-rings swell up, but also give them a nice thick gel type lubricant. I'm gonna get get this cap on there. Alright guys, I got that cap on there. It's all tight, O-rings are lubed. I put a barb fitting on the lower port, and then I plugged the other lower port. So we're just venting the top right now. And now the way I do this, there's probably a bunch of ways you can do this, but I have a coolant pressure tester. So you can like pressurize the cooling system while the car's not hot and check for leaks and stuff. All I do though is I just pull the hose off of the part that goes on the radiator, and now I can hook my pressure tester with it's got a gauge on it. I can hook that hose to that hose barb on here, and I can pump this up. You can see when the wastegate starts to open. There's 5 pounds. Oop. Yeah, so those springs are super weak. I might be able to get 4 pounds out of that. As soon as it, I mean, look, there's, let's see. There's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, man, that thing is super weak. So we're just gonna have to run it though, because like I said, the spring size is not anything that I have here to replace to make stiffer, I don't think. So we're just gonna have to command more dome pressure when I'm on the trans brake and down the track. So I'm gonna make sure that I got the hat on this clocked right, and put this new gate in. Get all my connections hooked up, and we can maybe test and see what it's gonna make for boost on the trans brake today. There she is, boys. It's all clamped down and clocked correctly, and everything fits beautifully. It looks awesome on there, I think. It's like more aesthetically appealing to me, even though it's not a huge difference, but she's on there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire Ron Burgundy up, and I'm going to check for exhaust leaks around the base on that wastegate. Just make sure I have it, everything's seated right, you know. So I got a little tip for you guys. If you want to find exhaust leaks that are really small, you can grab your stethoscope if you have one. If you don't, go get one, because they're super useful. And you just pull off the little end that this goes, it like clips into the, or it pushes onto a hose bar with that long metal thing for like checking bearings and stuff. And you just use the hose, the empty hose end, and you can, it's really loud. If you blow on the end of that, just gently, it's really loud in your ears. So you can find a really small exhaust leak really quickly with this. So I'm going to start the car up and poke around with my stethoscope and see if we got any leaks. Alright guys, that was my first trans brake test with the new wastegate. And made, let's see here, made 8.1 pounds.
So that's good. I'm gonna leave it right there because I think I've been leaving on too much all year, so it's spinning the tire off the hit slightly, not planting it and then rolling out. So I might try 8 and then a really short ramp. Booyah. I'm pretty happy with that. That was with 2 pounds of dome pressure on top of those springs. Those really weak springs that were in there, so that tells me that, you know, those gate pressure is like 6 pounds with both of those springs that came in it. Neat. I'll try that. Little unplanned project this morning. I wanted to be able to work on the car while the suspension was loaded and have like enough room to get under it. So I built these little, ooh, where's my finger going? Right there. These little cribs from some 2x12s, 2x4s that were 12 foot long. If you guys are trying to do that, they're 14 inch by 14 inch square, and it took 18 to build 18 pieces. They're 12 inches high right here. And I needed 8 12-foot 2x4s to make them, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, got plenty of room to get under here now and work on this thing, which is awesome. And I was thinking maybe I can put those cribs on top of the scale pads too. I don't know yet. I'll have to test fit kind of and see if that will work. But yeah. Anywho, my shocks for the front came back. So open these up. All right, guys. So I had my front coilovers revalved again. This is my 3rd time doing this. Each time I have only had the rebound, which is the extension, tightened. I haven't done anything with the compression yet because it's a really good setup compression wise. And the reason I've been doing that is I've sought some help from some of the pros out there, if you will. And they're saying when my front coilover is topping out, and you can kind of see that once I tell you this, or once I was told this, it makes perfect sense. If you look at some of the videos of my car going on the track, once the coilover tops out, and kind of, it almost, I mean, it's abruptly topping out. It's like more of a like a hammering effect almost, and when it does that, it disrupts the chassis so much that the car starts to like oscillate. You can kind of tell in some of the videos that it's you can hear the tires. So I had these tightened. The rebounds tightened up on them. They're 3 times tighter than they were in the last rendition that they were valved. So it should be a huge night and day difference this time. I really went for it. I didn't want them to make a small change. I wanted them to make a big change. So that's hopefully what we got. Let's see, I'm going to loosen them all the way up. Dude, compression on these is nuts already. Like, I'm going to have to put it on the floor and compress it. This will be hard to show you guys with my hands too, because the valving is it's more about the quickness that it's trying to separate, not so much as the pressure. So it's going to be hard for me to just like try to rip it out. So this is full loose. I probably will be able to pull this out on full loose pretty easily. Yeah. And then we'll go full tight. Oh, yeah, that's way freaking better than they were before. So I'm gonna get these in the car and I'm gonna set my car so it's level. I'm gonna have to kind of crank on the driver's side one a little bit more as far as the adjustment goes on the spring. So I'm gonna get it level first, and then I'll show you guys on video how slowly it reacts, like if I put a floor jack under it maybe or something, and see if we can capture that on video. All right guys, I got those on there. I adjusted them. The driver's side is like ½ an inch more compressed to get the car flat. But we're gonna check the rebound right now on the front with the floor jack. Just see if it's slower than the jack going down. Hopefully it is, but I have no idea. It's on full tight right now. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I don't know, man. It still seems pretty fast. Well, I'd like to have known what it was like before, but I know it was worse, so I was really hoping that that would be a lot slower than that. But they're on there now, and I got no other choice but to use them now because the race is in 3 days. But yeah, so we'll just have to stay tuned, you guys, let you know, so you guys will know what difference it made in the front, having them be tighter, but not as tight as I thought they would be, just based on the floor jack test, which is probably pretty irrelevant, but I thought it'd be a good way. Check it out. All right, so tomorrow I'm going to I got to do some stuff in the rear end on the arms. I'm going to replot the anti-squat and scale it, check the corner weights and stuff, and then neutral the anti-roll bar. And we will be pretty close to ready for Saturday. Lots of science going on here today. I'm going to show you guys, I don't know if I've updated you on where we're at for instant center and anti-squat, but that's our values right there. This thing does not want to focus really. 145%, 44-inch length, 11-inch height. So what I did so far this morning was I found a calculator online to show you how to get the instant center, the center of gravity height, because I've just been doing it off of cam height. It's actually really close. It ended up being 18.5 inches, and I think my cam height's like 18.8. And the only thing you had to do that was I scaled it without the cribs, and then I scaled it in park with just the rear cribs. And so the front was pitched down, the rear was up like whatever, 13 inches. I punched that in the computer and it gave me that 18.5 inches. Ideally, you're supposed to do it with like solid bars in for all your shocks and your tires at max pressure, so there's no sidewall deflection, and there's a lot of math that goes into it. I just wanted a rough idea where I was, so that's kind of what we got. After that, I put a little bit more rear steer in it, and I'll show you why. This yellow mark was down here, so I've gone 2 flats now, shortening this side to pull this passenger tire forward, which is going to steer the car to the right. And I'll show you right now, with the paint mark here, what it did. And then when I moved it one flat, what it did, and then hopefully this time we're going straight. So after I did that little rear steer adjustment, I just zeroed the upper arm. And how you do that is you just crack these loose, the lock nuts loose, and take this front bolt out, adjust it until the bolt slides in and out. And you have to support the snout on the diff when you do that. Otherwise the axle just wants to like kind of fall forward and to the left. So that's zero right now. So what I want to do is I'll show you guys the scale, how it's scaling out right now. It's pretty even on the rear tire weights. So we want to preload that upper arm, just a couple flats I think is all it's going to take, so that we can put a little bit more weight on this tire, because of the natural way when you launch the car wants to go like this and put more weight on the right rear. So we're going to try to offset that. Even though I have a solid anti-roll bar, it still wants to try to load that tire more than this tire. So we're gonna put like 60 or 70 pounds more weight with the preload on that upper arm by shortening it or lengthening it. I gotta figure that out still. And then I'll lock those lock nuts down and we're done in the rear back here. So let me get a weight right now, show you guys where we're at. Alright, there you have it, you guys. I think that's the first time I've showed you guys what it weighs. It is like 6 pounds, 7 pounds, 8 pounds overall. Too heavy right now versus when I'm sitting in it. I just have 5 bags of pellets in there, which is 200 pounds, and I'm about 185, 190 probably with my helmet and everything. So that's what we got. So yesterday when I cranked the driver's side coilover up to get the car to sit flat, I did put a little bit more weight on that tire versus the other front. So we have a little bit of a split difference in the front. It's like, what, 60 pounds, 70 pounds. I'm not too worried about that because those tires aren't powering the car going down the track. But what I am worried about is that left rear being lighter than the right rear right now. We want that left rear to be about 60 to 70 pounds heavier. So I'm going to do that by preloading that upper passenger 4-link bar. And we'll see how many flats it takes. I'm going to get my paint marker and paint the flat on there right now so I can make sure I know where I'm at to, you know, if I want to zero it or take some preload out in the future if I'm at the track making changes or whatever, if the car's driving one way or the other, or you name it. I want to be able to mark that and know where it's at, know where it needs to be at zero. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll see how the scales look after. Alright guys, dude, this, first of all, this cribbing is awesome. I haven't been able to get under here before while the car has been loaded. The suspension's been loaded. So I just got my paint marker on there. I just painted that flat that's flat with the ground, bright yellow. So now I'm just going to spin it and let you guys watch. Whoops. Let you guys watch the scale while I move it. I'll see which way it needs to go to put some more weight on that left rear. I think that's lengthening it. There's one flat. Am I going the right way? seemingly unaffecting it. That's a full turn right there. And it didn't really do anything. What? So I'm sitting on here trying to figure out why when I adjust that upper link, it's not changing the preload at all. It's not changing the tire weights at all in either direction. So instead of trying to just dwell on that, maybe it's because it's triangulated 4-link and not like a true equal bar length 4-link. It does have all Heim joints though, so I don't know. It should put the axle in a bind, which will, I mean, it's kind of like upsetting the chassis a little and putting more weight on certain tire, right? But it's not working, so the jury's still out on that. I'm going to, but what I did do was, all I did was I hooked the anti-roll bar back up and I gave it 1 full turn of preload, and it fixed my rear weights and the front weights. They're perfect. I didn't quite get 60 pounds, but of weight more on that left rear, but I got, let me make sure you guys can see this. It pretty much dead evened the front at 814 per side. And then it gave me 50, what's that, 55 pounds more on the driver's rear with the anti-roll bar, 1 turn of preload. So we're gonna rock this. We're gonna rock it. I'll show you guys what the bias is too here. We are 54.6 on the nose. Curious what you guys think about what the car weighs and all that. Being the first time that I've showed you guys. Maybe in the comments let me know if you think that it was lighter or heavier than you would have thought initially. So one thing I need to look up too is by preloading the anti-roll bar, which way it's going to try to turn the car now, because maybe my little rear steer adjustment on my lower control arm, I might not have needed to do that now. So I'm gonna quickly look that up and see which way shortening the passenger side anti-roll bar link is going to make the car want to turn now. Alright, so shortening the passenger side link will make the car go to the right. Lengthening it will make it go to the left. I had to shorten it to get more weight on the driver's side tire. So it's going to want to go to the right, which is what I was also trying to do with my lower control arm adjustment there by moving it 1 flat shorter on the passenger side. So I'm going to take that flat back out of the lower control arm and just rely on the ARB preload that we found, puts the weight where I want it to, and should also drive the car to the right. And we're going to try that, see how it goes on Saturday. So I'm going to change that real quick, and that's about it for suspension stuff. I think we're just about ready now. Getting real close anyways. We're back on the ground. I still have all my weight in there to simulate me being in there. I rolled the car back and forth a bunch. Kind of jostled the suspension up and down, shook it around, trying to get it so that it's like sitting how it will when we're on the starting line. Neutraled the ARB, and then I gave it that 1 turn, or 2 turns? I can't remember now, I wrote it down, but I gave it some preload. I think it was 1 turn. Shortened it, right, to get the weight on that left rear. And now I'm just checking the toe on the front. I got my All-Star toe plates. If you guys don't have these, they're awesome. You just run your tape. You need 2 tape measures. I guess you don't need to, but it helps a lot to have 2, I think. And right now, I have a 1/4 inch of toe in at static height, just like it is right here, which seems like a lot, but when the suspension is fully extended, it has a 1/16 of toe out, and it rides somewhere in the middle there going down the track, which is, you know, I want a little bit of toe in, but not a lot. I don't want any drag, but I also don't want it to be really darty. If you have toe out, the car will be real darty. And if your car tends to wheelie and it has any toe out and it comes down and slams all that weight on the front end, and the steering's trying to go 2 opposite directions, trying to pull out, I mean, you could tear your tie rods out or break your tie rods, or, you know, I mean, it's not good, dude. So you need to have toe in all the time. My 1/16 of toe out at full extension, I'm not too worried about that. Because I don't want to, I'm not super amped to have, you know, 3/8 toe in at static. That just seems like a bunch, but 3/16 or 1/4 inch, you know, that's okay, I think. So I'm going to pull the pellet bags out of there because I don't need those in there now. We're going to swap the fuels back to C16, and I'm just going to change the spark plugs, gap the new ones, and put my IAC valve back in that I ordered. It should show up today. So today's Thursday. Get the car all ready today, then tomorrow I'll just be packing some stuff and getting ready, so Saturday I don't have a big rush in the morning. We're ready to go. I'm just gapping some spark plugs up, giving them the gapperoonies. I'm also switching plugs, going from a NGK 5671A-9, which is an unresisted plug. These look like poop because I drove them on the street a little bit. And they've got some races on them too. And I'm going to man, this thing just doesn't focus sometimes. But anyway, I'm going to a NGK 2668, which is an 8 heat range. So it's 1 step hotter. And it's also projected tip. You can see this one. You can't see the ceramic. You can barely see the electrode down in there. This is projected, so and it's resisted. So I got a few people told me I should try this plug out, so we're gonna try it out. I'm just gapping them down to 18 thousandths with my little tool here. I don't have one of them fancy ones with the threaded handle and all that, which would be nice, but maybe an upgrade for the future. So I'm just gonna finish gapping all these, put them in, and then I am going to test out the 2-step with that new wastegate and make sure we're making enough boost for testing run tomorrow. I just wanted to show you guys. I got this little tool that's on my feeler gauge setup for, I can bend the strap, the ground strap on the spark plug with that instead of tapping it on stuff to get it, get to tighten the gap. I can kind of open it or close it with that. But I just noticed that on these plugs, I don't know if they're a little softer on the ground strap, but it like kind of dented them and marred them up on the end of the ground strap. And I was thinking, you know, it's kind of sharp feeling, so you don't want that to get red hot in the cylinder and start pre-igniting your mixture. So I got this little file. I'm just smoothing these out. So just something to keep in mind if you guys have that same tool and you're trying to do what I'm doing. Just smooth them out afterwards. Make sure that there's no sharp spots on those. So that's it for this episode, you guys. Hopefully you liked, hopefully you learned something. Please like and subscribe. Help me grow the channel, you guys. It's growing slowly. I feel like I put a lot of work in the last year. Maybe it's just I'm not posting consistently enough. But, you know, comment too what you think I should change up. If there's something you don't like about my videos or whatever, let me know. Constructive criticism, man, I'll take it. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you next time with the race video.